Good evening, friends. I will be speaking for about 5 minutes about this topic, which has been selected by Swamiji, and the topic is the ways of intelligence, learning and unlearning. So, the root meaning of the word intelligence, it means to read between the lines. That means if we are reading something, maybe a Krishnamurti book, or listening to somebody like Krishna ji, then what is the meaning behind the words? That is the intelligence, the deeper meaning behind the word. And this intelligence is not awakened, it seems, because after we go to school and college and we learn so many things about the outer world, and we are not able to look at the inner world because our mind goes into whatever we know, and we want to know more about the world which is outside, but there is a lot of thing going on within our own body and mind, and the body has also intelligence. Like when we eat some food, we don't digest, we don't make any effort to digest the food because the body has the intelligence and it does the digestion. And similarly, the heart is beating and we are breathing air. It is happening. So our body is a very intelligent machine, but we abuse our body sometimes because we overeat or smoking and drinking. And so that the other intelligence, the ability to look at our own mind very, very clearly and seeing how these thoughts and feelings are arising, we are not able to see very clearly. And that is why we have so many problems in the world and in family, in relationship, in the office, and everywhere there is a lot of conflict and anger and jealousy and competition. And all this indicates that we are not intelligent, because a person who is intelligent, who has intelligence, will be able to see very, very clearly how the mind is working. So if there is a anger is coming, one can see the beginning of anger or any thought or feeling. So this intelligence is there in all human beings, but only people who are very much deeply interested in looking at the inner world, they may come upon this intelligence. And for that, one needs to be alone, silent, turning the attention inward, and with all the energy to look inward. And this is very difficult for most people in the modern world, because we are all the time escaping from our own self by reading or watching video and reading newspapers or calling friends on internet or telephone. So only when we become very curious to look at the inner world, and we have the ability to turn the attention inward, then this intelligence comes into a picture, and then we may be able to see the real, uh, the beginning of thoughts, feelings, and it may even do some changes in the quality of our brain, and we can see everything so beautiful, fresh, new, as if we are seeing it for the first time. So we can really enjoy life when this intelligence is awakened, and we don't get tired or bored Even when we don't do anything, we can just observe everything. The nature is very beautiful. The birds are singing very sweetly, and there are clouds in the sky, and so uh, uh, there are so many sources of happiness which becomes available to us when our mind becomes very silent and very clear. So this I would consider to be the awakening of intelligence, which is not intellect. Intellect is the ability to think logically and to do some research in the science field, and using knowledge to produce more knowledge. And that is what the scientists do. The scientists have what Krishnaji calls a partial intelligence, or we can call it intellect. And this intellect, it doesn't solve our deeper problems. It can solve mathematics problem and physics problem, and it can really create a beautiful environment. We can create machines and all that, make our life comfortable. But that intellect cannot solve the problems created by unobserved thinking. So our problem is not thinking actually. Yeah, our problem is that the lack of intelligence which can see clearly how the thoughts and feelings are moving. So it is in a different dimension. This intelligence is in a different dimension than thinking and feeling. And no matter how much we think, it cannot awaken intelligence. But from intelligence, we can do many things. We can solve problems, whether of the psychological problems or the outward problem. We can. So intelligence is. Krishnamurti would even say it is a love, compassion, beauty. All that is intelligence. And so I think I have said enough things. Has Swamiji come now?
No, Swamiji hasn't come yet.
Not, okay. So I think I have finished. Let us other people
Okay.
would like to. Yeah.
Anybody else wants to say or comment on the topic, he can say something. Either Pradeep sir, Prasad sir, or Waghmare ji.
One thing more I would like to say about this unlearning, because we learn a lot and we can gather a lot of knowledge about Krishnamurti's teachings, and we may be able to explain intellectually, logically, that Krishnamurti is correct. But we have to forget even what we have learned from Krishnamurti or Shankaracharya or Astavakra or Kabir. Only when the mind is silent and awake, then a real learning happens. And it cannot be done by effort. So it is effortless learning, and that learning is about our own mind. And when we learn about our own mind, that we can avoid many problems. Like if somebody says something very unpleasant to us, we don't react with anger immediately, but we can really look at the criticism and see whether what the other person says is true or false. We can have a space within our mind when there is this intelligence. So we don't react, but we can respond intelligently when there are problems. And these problems come uninvited and they come suddenly. So if we are not alert, awake, we can get carried away by emotions. And sometimes people do a lot of damaging thing out of immediate reaction, and later on they regret. And that happened because this intelligence or awareness was not awakened. But with intelligence, awareness, we can look at any problem and not blame other people, but look, why do I get upset when somebody says something unpleasant? Is it because I have some images built about myself and that images are getting hurt and that's why I am getting upset? And so this is all the learning about our inner world. That is the real intelligence, and that can help us a lot in living a happy, healthy, creative life. Okay, finish.
Prasad sir. Prasad sir, do you want to say something?
Mr. Waghmare, I think he has
Oh.
raised his hand.
Okay.
I think Swamiji has come.
Swamiji has
Swamiji has
come,
come.
so let Swamiji say something. Please.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Swamiji has come.
Yeah.
Chidanandji, would you please like to say something? Please say. Please unmute first.
Unmuted.
Now, okay. Please say.
Yeah. So, namaste, good evening, everybody. And let me once more take a look at how we have worded the topic. Here it is. It's the ways of intelligence, right? The ways of intelligence. And we wish to examine two words that have often been used, and they are learning and unlearning. Learning, in contrast to unlearning, is an additive process. Additive, not addictive. It can get addictive. Anything in life can get addictive, unfortunately. But here we are using the word additive. It comes from the root add. In a whole lot of subjects that you and I learn in life, we learn mathematics. We learn addition and subtraction, then slowly add. See, we add multiplication and division. We add trigonometry and geometry. We add differentiation and integration, and so on. Not only in maths or science, in countless subjects of the world, there is learning. But mind you, we want to examine what is intelligence, ways of intelligence. Our context obviously is not how an intelligent lawyer is made, intelligent engineer is made, an intelligent farmer is made, not about those professional excellence. With all due respect to the charm and the glory of professional excellence, our concern is the ways of intelligence in the psychological domain. Let's not therefore waste time in exploring how somebody increases one's IQ or EQ, etc. Especially IQ in the subject in these university subjects. IQ. Probably in emotional intelligence, a little bit of learning as well as unlearning find a place, I guess. I'm not too sure. Let's first examine what is learning and what is unlearning. Unlearning is a process of negating or subtracting. Unlearning, yes, does have a place even in mechanical things, functional things. Even in cooking, I suppose, there is place for unlearning. Imagine I don't know any cooking and I use some recipe and I put more salt and then it doesn't come out well. I realize, oh, I should not put more salt. I should not fry something in this way. I should not heat it at this time. So then next time I don't do it. I unlearn. So in functional domains, there is some unlearning. Learning and unlearning have a place in functional as well as psychological domains. But let me quickly come back to whatever little I can share with you in.
उसलिए ममता से कोई काम है ये तो निकल
Sorry,
जाए
आपको किसी दूसरे से कुछ बोल रहे हैं. In the psychological domain, what is learning? What is unlearning? And how these two become the two limbs or two parts of operation of true intelligence. In the psychological domain, to see clearly how the self operates, many a time we use the word self so casually as though we know everything about it, though really this business of the little self is very intricate, very complex. Countless are the faces or the facets of this little self. What do we mean by facets of the self? Pride, guilt, shame, ambition, wanting to prove oneself, wanting to defend oneself, wanting to somehow score a point over another person. All these are psychological operations that proceed from the self, and to me it seems, I am very open to be corrected by any member as they comment upon my words later. To me it seems that there is learning in the psychological domain by carefully noticing in others, and probably more importantly in ourselves, how certain self-centered, self-driven operations happen within us. You compliment me and I feel so good. It's possible for me to notice and say, hey, look, that person praised me and I'm feeling on cloud 9. Wow. And I can clearly see that I want him to praise me more. So there is noticing and learning. However, major breakthroughs, it seems, happen in the second part of the topic, that is unlearning. If I get mighty pleased when someone compliments me and I want more of it, as I gave an example offhand, it doesn't happen just like that all of a sudden from nowhere. It has a big and a long story of conditioning from rudimentary expressions of that kind of self-love. Maybe in kindergarten itself, when a teacher praised me and told other kids, learn from him, see how good he is. So I might have felt very good, wanted it more. Alas, due to lack of attention, this seeking praise, wanting to be appreciated, wanting to be described as better than other boys, other girls, it becomes a habit. Habitually, we look for praise. And then we suffer. When someone praises us, we feel good. And when someone was expected to praise us, but we don't know. The person did not say one word. The person did not say one thanks. Then we got to get into jitter. And that's how we suffer. In life, we suffer many an insult. And when I say we suffer an insult, most of the time, we ourselves are responsible for that suffering 90%. 10% the other guy might have said some word which was most unparliamentary, most inappropriate, or sometimes the person might have said something true also. The person might have called a spade, as the idiom goes. Suppose I am giving a lecture and I, instead of saying, let's say some kind of spiritual lecture, instead of saying you are immortal, which is said in some philosophies, suppose I said you are immoral by a slip of a tongue, and many people laugh, and somebody even gets up and says to me on my face, sir, correct yourself, you said immoral, you should have said immortal, I guess. No, he spoke the truth, plain truth. I had mispronounced that word, let us say. But do I like it? I don't like it. I feel bad. And I get all negative reactions in me. Okay, I made a mistake in pronunciation or uttering the word, but what business does this man have to say it? He is so impulsive. He cannot wait for 2 minutes. I was going to correct myself anyhow. But he suddenly stands up and says, sir, you mispronounced. You used a wrong word. He shouted louder than how I was talking with the mic. He doesn't have a mic, but he was heard more in the hall, all kinds of negative reactions. So this complex operation of the self, which elsewhere they call ego, exposes itself before us time and again. Perhaps sometimes 20 times a day, we notice the conditioned, habit-based, mechanical responses of the self. There is a great opportunity for us to unlearn this habit, though very hard to remove, actually can be undone in the light of attention, in the flame of attention. That tendency to react to feel some hatred within ourselves towards a person who found fault with us. All that, rather than rising and gathering more momentum, can reduce and can quietly melt away. So to me it seems unlearning is letting go of an erroneous mechanical way of seeing, responding, etc. And that makes the way, that paves the way for us to see the right way. And the right way apparently is in us. It has always been with us. But some of these conditioned responses, time and again, come in the way. It is said by many mystics, and I tend to accept such a statement, that love is our nature, hatred is not. To feel oneness is our nature. To feel various divisions is something alien to us, but alas, what is alien seems so much natural to us. If somebody asks us, why are you behaving like this? We get angry with that also. Who are you to say to us, I am like this only. This is my nature. We defend, we justify. All that defending and justifying, etc., is part of the mess, the psychological mess in which we live. Even highly qualified people, highly talented people, highly gifted people, people who have huge fan following, etc., have psychological mess in them. The mess in terms of psychology may not show all the time. Typically, those who are close to them know. Some performer goes on the stage and, let's say, sings, and she makes the audience cry with joy, cry with sorrow. Through her song, she may make thousands of people go through various emotions. And an onlooker would imagine, wow, what a wonderful singer she is. She must be way above us. She must be specially made by God, or such, how we react. But you never know that most envied singer might have another side to her. Within 24 hours, how she treats her spouse, how she treats her servants, how she treats family members or people in her profession would be a very different story. I believe in Gita Press, Gorakhpur. Many of you know Gita Press, Gorakhpur. I don't know how many years old it is, maybe 50 or 75 or 100 years old. Has been publishing spiritual books, Gita, Upanishad, Ramayana, Bhagavat, everything at a throwaway price. And in a lot of their publications, there used to be very, very touching, colorful drawings. Let's say Sudama meeting Krishna, and how Sudama and Krishna, who 50 years ago probably were, or not so, maybe 30 years ago, they were classmates under their guru Sandipani. So this artist, there was an artist who made such drawings. And when he drew a painting to go into a certain book or publication of Sudama and Krishna, looking at that painting, the readers of the book would have tears in their eyes. And he drew every month dozens of such drawings. But one day people came to know that this great artist actually would wait for his salary at the end of the month, and as soon as he got his salary, a particular artist, I'm not talking of all artists, that particular artist, as soon as he got his monthly salary, he would go to a bar and drink, as they say, binge on alcohol. This is not an isolated story of some artist in Gorakhpur, some distant town of Uttar Pradesh. This kind of two sides to a human personality is common around the world. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was a fiction written by somebody, and over there the theme is this kind of split personality. Coming back, when somehow, which is in traditions called divine grace, thanks to some divine grace, one begins to look at one's behavior, one's deed, word, and thought. Thought, word, and deed, you have this expression. In thought, word, and deed, kayena vacha manasa, manasa vacha karmana, such expressions you have heard. So in thought, word, and deed, there are vulgarities, there are contradictions, there are such artificialities in the way you and I live. And it's such a difficult thing to handle. If we resist those, they seem to gather more strength. If we just do whatever we feel like, that also traps us more and more. Like in quicksand, daldal. Any attempt to get out of it makes you sink deeper into the daldal or quicksand. We human beings are caught in certain vulgarities, you may say, and it's a mammoth task generally. But once more, permit me to use the word divine grace. I hesitate to use such words in a Krishnamurti group because where everything is questioned. But once I was in Rajghat, and outside the bungalow where Rajesh Dalal, the director at that time, was living, he was such a lovable and very loving person. He was so friendly towards all of us. He just came out and a couple of us were standing there. And he started talking of something. Can you believe? He suddenly said, whatever I am today is all by grace of Krishnaji. So Krishnamurti's grace was talked about. Otherwise, yes, lot of inquiry is conducted into, is there God? Is there anything sacred? Is there anything divine? Is there some higher power? And so on. Anyway, so taking your permission to use that expression once more, with certain divine grace, we realize that we have been dealing with our own lack of intelligence, our own unintelligent ways of thinking, speaking, or doing, thought, word, and deed, rather in immature ways. We fight with ourselves. For what? And then we condone. One moment we condemn ourselves. Oh my God, I should be like this. Again, I've acted so foolishly. I scolded my own mother. I was so unkind to my own child. So about some behavior of ours, one moment we condemn ourselves. And within a short while, we become very defensive. What? He deserved, she deserved it. If I said anything, if I did anything to her or him, it was not even a little more than what she deserved. She got what she deserved. What is this going on? Then we realize that these immature ways of either battling with ourselves or patting ourselves on the back do not lead to a real resolving of issues. That is where, friends, the operation of intelligence, the way of intelligence comes to a different phase. Intelligence expresses itself in the form of noticing and understanding the structure of a certain negative emotion, be it insecurity, be it guilt, be it revengefulness, whatever, be it the subtle form of wanting to become somebody. I tell you, I have been in the so-called spiritual field now for some 40 years. I have been a kind of guru and, I have been. Once Rajesh Dalal introduced me, not exactly introduced, but in some context, to a small group of people, he said, Chidanandji has been a guru. He said, I felt a bit embarrassed in that circle of friends. Of course, there's no question of misunderstanding him. He was so wonderful. He used that word in a bit of a technical sense. He didn't mean the least insult or embarrassment or criticism of anything towards me. Yeah, he was a very loving person. Chidanandji has been a guru, you see, he said to people. So, wanting to be a guru, wanting to have people follow us, or if not follow, wanting that people talk well of some speech I gave, some book I wrote, or something I did, that's also no doubt a form of, disorder. You and I have many forms of disorder. And the stage comes, I'll dwell on this for a minute and pause. A stage comes when we see that it's not about doing something about it. If we thoroughly understand the structure of that wanting to become, the structure of that thought where we want to teach somebody a lesson, there is indeed a structure. These emotions, these opinions are not a monolith. Monolith means a statue made of a single stone. In contrast, there are statues, there are architectural or sculptural, products where actually there are many pieces. Many pieces put together become that sculpture. Sometimes those parts could be of different material also. A little metal here, a little ceramic over there, a little something else over there. Composite. And our thought is a composite entity. Our thought vertically and horizontally or 360 degrees, it has certain components all put together is what is called thought. And when we look at thought, there is a certain sensing of contradiction, a sensing of something not proper here, sensing of something amiss. That sensing, that noticing is the operation of intelligence where upon noticing that vulgarity, that contradiction, whatever you may call it, something improper, something disorderly, something outdated, something that has no value today, it has no relevance today. I'm holding on to something which at long back at some time perhaps was valid. So all that is meant. So when you see that, there comes about unlearning. There comes about, we don't unlearn, but unlearning happens. Letting go happens. And those are those beautiful moments where best things, wonderful things just happen, not because of some deliberate activity of the self or activity of thought. And that is unlearning. Therefore, it seems to me that in the psychological domain, greater things or most wonderful things happen in the domain of unlearning, and the little things, I guess, on the way are of the nature of learning too. We do learn. We do. The noticing part is, I guess, in the beginning, learning. However, as we notice fully, without any bias, without any pre-concluded notion, it transforms into unlearning, where one lets go of a burden one has been carrying for too long. Let me pause here. Thank you very much.
Pradeep sir.
Swamiji, Namaskar, and all the friends. Another interesting topic selected by Swamiji. It says the ways of intelligence. Virtually whatever has been said today, right from Harshad Bhai to Swamiji, virtually everything has been covered. The complex small s, small self, then higher self, then good and bad, and vulgarity and beauty and morality. Everything has been covered virtually under this umbrella, one thing, intelligence. So intelligence, Harshadji said that intelligence is reading between the lines. Interesting to me, when he was taking it for 5-10 minutes. It means intention, probably. Intention. Between the lines, between the words. What somebody has, why he has used this word, we have to explore. Whatever it may be, ultimately we come back to that complex little self, the conditioned self, the habituated self, the image-oriented self. Ultimately, the whole thing comes back to us, that self in me. So, this then learning, especially learning and unlearning. Who does it? Naturally, that self. Everybody doesn't do this unlearning. Even they don't question it. Learning, usually we have been trained to think about in schooling, whatever knowledge, and unlearning. Both these words, self comes in with great, everything comes around the little self. He does it. He does it or does it not. He does it whether it is in his control or not. But we assume that everybody can do it, and it must be unlearned to become empty again, to become nothing, rather holistic again. So this intelligence You may divide it into different intellect and this thing or that thing or that thing or that thing, skill, technical, non-technical, verbal, literary, all sorts of things. So ultimately, these are the things these should be done to avoid conflicts and suffering. How one listens to these things and does it and even explores in his or her life, naturally results will come depending on whether you do it in your daily life. So this again, it remains a complex thing. We may divide it in different realms: psychological realm, biological realm, and ultimately the so-called biology is full of psychology. Your heart is full of neurons, your body is full of neurons, your body is very intelligent, as Harshadji was telling. So intelligence is not located at a particular or in a particular organ. So the complexity of this topic remains where it was to me, whether man has control over it. Each person has a different, different creativity, or rather different ways of, you may say, intelligence, ways of intelligence. So it means there are n number of ways that you arrive at a particular peaceful life. So this is what I have to say, because nothing substantial or nothing as a message, I cannot conclude anything out of this. But it sounds good to listen to these words, because ultimately words and behind words, around words, all those things remain where they were all there. Thank you very much, friends. Thank you. If Swamiji wants to say something, it is up to him. And if he wants to say later on, it's his pleasure. Thank you.
Swamiji, do you want to say something?
Yes, I will say if I am permitted. So yeah, yeah, I very much appreciate the sharing by Pradeep ji. If I heard it rightly, he said all that comes back to noticing, understanding our conditionings, how mechanical we have become, and all that. And it's so true. It's all. And is that good news or bad news is an interesting question. If everything comes down to just this only, observing and watching the conditioning, is that a bad news? I would say no, it's very good news. Because some people say, you people, all the time you talk about watching, and you guys don't do anything. You just talk about watching. That's how, there are people who criticize. I'm sorry to say those people haven't understood how this watching has tremendous significance. And it's not some silly small thing which the people keep doing. Actually, it encompasses a lot of operations of intelligence. It's such a, you can call it the best healing, you can call it the best transformation, you can call it the best way of finding certain cheerfulness. From despair, you can move to cheerfulness in right watching. You can move from suicidal condition to a highly unburdened state of, oh my God, why did I think of committing suicide? Actually, there's no problem at all. See, from one extreme to another, one can go by seeing, by watching. Therefore, unless we make the whole thing into just some bunch of words and nothing more, this business of noticing our own conditioning, our own mechanicalness is the most precious thing in life. And therefore, everyone, more and more people, we should share it, we should, get into it ourselves more and more. Everything else falls by the side in contrast to true watching, true self-awareness. Thank you, Pradeep ji. You brought that to, it comes down to this crux of the matter you said. I fully agree with you. Thank you.
Swamiji, I just want two sentences, two more
Please.
things.
Please
One,
do.
this seeing, as you said, so many people have seen, even JKG and Osho, Art of Seeing, Eric Fromm, Art of Seeing, a number of psychologists and those people. So this seeing itself, seeing and listening, you see, whether we want to see things as they are or listen what has been said, actually, each one of us, again we come back to that snake, brings it back to that, whatever you may say, small as or small snake or large snake, but it is the same snake. You see, we come back to that kundalini and it comes back to zero. So this seeing, I know, because I enjoy images in the form of through vision, seeing visibly, and seeing every time something new is God's gift, in a way, because I don't want to see the same image. I don't see it, whatever I have taken that image that day. So most of the things are Google's property. No, so this seeing very important. I know most important in my research career also. Seeing alone, I used to stand in the field just empty, without any preconceived knowledge or what others have done about it. Just blank in front of the plants, I used to stand there only. And I could see so many deep things and written research papers on that. Likewise, just seeing, half of my papers are just through seeing only, seeing nothing else, with no knowledge. Fortunately, I was a botany person who entered agriculture and then genetics and all that. But fortunately, I had not a big this lump of knowledge with me, or I never bothered about what others have said. But what is there right in front of me tells everything. So this is the beauty of seeing. I'm just a little personal. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. That was nice additional comments. Very nice. Yeah, over to others to share some thoughts.
Dinesh Waghmare.
Are you able to hear my voice, sir, clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So today's topic is ways of intelligence, learning and unlearning. First of all, thank you to all the earlier speakers. They have given justice to the subject as per their own views. Now, when we say ways of intelligence, to me it is intelligence is acting. Intelligence is acting. It is not still or it is not. There are two ways intelligence can remain. Either it can act or it can remain silent. And when we say learning and unlearning, definitely it is a matter of duality. Matter of duality. When we say learning means learning, and to unlearn means to unlearn that. So actually it is a difficult thing. It is not a simple thing. First of all, let us understand, or what JK says and my views. Learning is a difficult art. Most of us know how to accumulate knowledge and from that to act. From that to act. Is not learning something moment to moment. He is given example at one place that suppose you are driving a car along with a friend, and your conscious mind, with your conscious mind, you are deciding the direction. Your subconscious mind is driving accordingly, and you are talking to your friend, and all of a sudden, somewhere on the a car comes, and the driver loses his control, and the car comes to you. You see the car coming to you, and you immediately uh, you try to save yourself, and you immediately change your steering or move your steering to safeguard you. So you have learned that at the 11th hour that a car is coming to you. So this is learning. That's what he says. It is sudden. It is coming from unknown, and it is come to your knowledge with a sudden impact. So that's what learning is, he said. He is not learning something moment to moment. We accumulate and then act. And from that action, learn to add more or to take away. But one must question whether such a process is actually learning. To learn means, he has changed slightly, according to me, the meaning of learning. So learning means also the dictionary meaning, and we are considering learning as JK meaning also. To learn means that you are learning about something which you don't know, and from that state of learning, you are acting. So learning is always in the present, in the active present, not a thing which you have accumulated and from which you act. I think there is a great difference, a deal of difference between these two. One is mechanical, means to act from the memory and your past knowledge. One is mechanical, that is having accumulated knowledge, acting from that, and the other is non-mechanical. It is in the active present, which is always learning and not accumulating. What happens actually, that suddenness and that we have taken the example of car, you are going in a car, that experience impacts you, and you keep and that becomes another storage in your memory. So now afterwards it makes an impact, since it has made impact on you, you try to cover that portion also, or that memory also, to safeguard you. So you drive yourself very cautiously, and your speed becomes low and all that. But sometimes it is not needed. So now you want to unlearn it, or make its impact slightly less, or say make its intensity less. But that is not so easy. Means unlearning is also not so easy. So what he says further, and that is the only way to live in the present. So we have seen that learning is a process that leads to change, which occurs as a result of experience and increases potential for improvement, performance, and future learning. So this, when we talk of normal your academic field or domain. So we are covering both psychological as well as your other zone. What is insight learning? It is a sudden realization of a solution of a problem. Because of its suddenness, insight learning is different from trial and error learning. So there are two ways of learning, he is saying. One is trial and error, which normally scientists do. And all of a sudden, insights comes to you. And that insights is a learning, which requires more careful experimentation to arrive at a solution. It is the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skills, values, attitudes, etc. Some learning is immediate, induced by a single event. For example, burning by a hot stove. So that is, we have talked about learning. But this learning always have insight as per JK. What is insight? A clear, deep, and sometimes sudden understanding of a complicated problem or situation. Insight, shift in understanding plus unexpected insight gives you real learning. So here the insight comes, and then that insight can be said to be to make you its own impact or its own mm, effect that makes that can be said as a learning. Now, what is intelligence? We have used the word ways of intelligence. Intelligence is which is the outcome of having an insight into the reality of what is, and the observation of that is wisdom, and the perception of it is truth. Truth and the daughter is wisdom, and intelligence is the daughter of wisdom. So here he has gone in the reverse direction basically. Insight he has used comes first, and then uh, comes the intelligence. Means you immediately came to know that this is this is this is and you immediately came to know that this is insight. And insight gives you you the idea of intelligence, that intelligence is working in the moment. But that intelligence actually it is already there, and when your mind is calm, uh, quiet, and as Harshad sir said, it is silent, and it becomes pure, there is order in it, then only that intelligence can come into the picture. That's what uh, thing is. Now, unlearning. Unlearning we have taken so many times that we have to just observe in a witness phase or in a choiceless awareness phase the things so that that can be cleared. The psychological impact of that event. Many people, for after accident, leave car driving or say scooter driving because that event makes so much impact that they are full of fears afterwards, or and say that no, I'm to drive the car or scooter now. So this is because of that impact. But if you remain with you and if you unlearn it, the impact of it, then your body intelligence may body intelligence may help you to, then your body intelligence may help you to support you to drive the car or the vehicle. So ways of intelligence can come into picture only when your mind is uh, clean, pure, it is in order, then only it can come. And your ego is diluted. Of course, Verma ji has said, ultimately it comes to you only if your ego, you are not having any much burden of trash or this thing. Trash means I'm using the word for the past memories, which are unnecessary. So if you don't have trash of that, then you can use that. Then this intelligence can come into picture because your inner order is there. So ways of intelligence and learning and unlearning. These are the things as per my view. Thank you. Swamiji wants to say something on this.
Not really. Let us hear Dr. Kulkarni.
Yes, sir. Uh, you are able to listen to me, sir? Hello?
Yes.
Very well.
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm traveling. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So, I would like to say few insights. First of all, I would like to thank the group. So, there are two things which I learned from Krishna ji. Sometimes he says learning, and most of the times he says living. So, moment to moment, when we learn, we are discarding the past. So now coming to the what is discarding the past. For example, I was traveling in the car. So when I raised the hand, internet was good. But while it's coming, there was no internet. So I had to lower my hand. Similarly, so my name kept as a Dr. Amarnath, and my story, everything. For everything, I am taking that self-center as the reference. So this is what I learnt. Now, unlearning means I am not taking that reference into the point. Similarly, all the knowledge which I have accumulated, all the experiences which I have accumulated. So in Sanskrit, in Yoga Vasishtha, it comes. So we are giving meaning that is called Artha Abhasa. Similarly, we are giving the image that is called Jnana Abhasa. We are keeping the image aside. We are keeping the meaning aside. But what is that giving the meaning? The previous sir said seeing. So where is it happening? Inside the eyes, outside the eyes, or our senses are finite or infinite. Like Krishnaji, most of the times he says, seeing without self-center, without prejudice, without condemning, without judgment, without evaluation, which we are all doing continuously, including when I want to raise my hand, so my ego is coming. When I lowered my hand, again, the ego has gone. So if we can see that, similarly, now I'm in the WhatsApp group or a Zoom meeting. I'm with all the people, but I'm separating myself and the others, as Chidananda Swamiji has said very deeply. So this division, we are dividing continuously, and after knowing this, as Swamiji was saying, by watching again and again and again, so it stopped by itself. Most of the times we wanted to stop, or Krishnaji says spontaneously. So we wanted to do. So again, that I is coming back. So that is not happening after that. For example, someone asked about the address. We are telling here is the post office, you go left and right, then go around and on. But if there was no post office, then what is the value of that explanation or suggestion? Can we think over this? If I am not Amarnath, so what is the value of my knowledge, even the ignorance or the experience? That's what the real meaning of the Krishnaji's the active learning or the unlearning means we are not using the mind. As I'm a doctor, especially pediatrics, so a child learns. If you give car, take out the car at 7 to 9 months old. Objective permanence, give me the car. So this objective permanence has happened. As Ramana Maharshi also said the same thing. So we are always seeing the objects, thoughts, and the things. I could not listen to Harshad ji, but someone else was saying. So who is connecting all these things? Who is knowing all these things? Now I am knowing everything inside me, outside me, including me. So this becomes the knower. So knowing, knower, and the process of knowing. This is happening. For example, Krishnaji tells, you are seeing a morning sunlight, the sun. Now I feel that the sun and I am is different. No, both are the part of the observer and the observation effect. So if we understand this, so first is division, then making the undivision based on the reference of that division, or now whatever I have learned from the this childhood. Actually, learning. I'm very sorry to say, Krishnaji mentions again and again. It's happening for so many past lives. He mentions 40 million sometimes, or crores of years. So knowingly, unknowingly, just like Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya, whatever is there, they are there since so many years in the time. So once I know all these things, then the time stops, my thought stops, and what's going to happen, I am not able to tell. Just now, as I said, I wanted to talk, but there was no signal, so I have to stop. Once again, it has come. Now I am talking. Similarly, it's a continuous journey. In fact, it's an infinite journey, never ending, like a continuous flow of a river. So all of you gave very valuable inputs, especially Swamiji. I'm grateful to you. Again, before ending, what I feel learning is most of the times we are seeing the mistake of others and we want authority. We want someone should comment on me. I am right, I am wrong. Or even I wanted to comment. All these things comes to an end because it has no value. As I said, the person was telling from the post office, you go right, left, and there was no post office at all. Similarly, so I am something. So the becoming has come to an end. So though I am talking, I am Dr. Amarnath, I know that I am not. Though I am a seeker, I am talking, I am not a seeker. Seeking is happening. Now I am a speaking is going on, I am not a speaker. Listening is going on, but there is no listener. Similarly, this listening is infinite. Not only listening in my Zoom meeting or the mobile, but I am listening to the sounds around. I am listening to my own inner voice. I am seeing my ego. The great example by Krishna given by Krishna ji was this. So when you want to put nail into a door or something wall, so you are seeing that's concentration. But you are aware of your surroundings as well. That is what the awareness or the capital SEL is. One more example given is we want to see some object, we put a torchlight, a focused torchlight. That's concentration. But the awareness or the self is you take the lamp and your whole room is lighted. So like that. So without division, I'm able to know, see, listen. That's called pure knowing, or pure listening, or pure seeing. Once again, thanks to everyone and all.
Swamiji,
Ah,
do you want to say something?
yeah. All I can say is, yeah, first time I heard Dr. Amarnath Kulkarni, and I really appreciate his authentic and rather original approach to the topic. And he has talked about, other earlier speakers also said about insight. So it is in fact very interesting how we have so many ways of knowing, so many ways of learning about life, not always through rational, analytical thinking. Many a time, when we stop thinking, a certain understanding arises. So, all I can say at this moment is different speakers have opened up the topic in different ways. And one of the wonderful exercises you and I can do during such a dialogue is listen to the speakers with full attention. Because we tend to get distracted in various ways. But just listening, and when the distraction happens, do not resist or do not suppress it, but just gently be aware and get back to the attention to the uh, words being spoken by the speaker at that moment. That's about it. Thank you.
Prasad sir,
Kaushalji has raised his hand, sir. I mean,
one minute. Ravi Kaushal
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
yes, you are audible.
Okay. Actually, I think like Kamlesh sir loves me so much, so he used to forget me sometimes. So it's good. And so today's topic is ways of intelligence. So I heard a bit about what Harshad Parekh has said, sir has said, and he said quite well. But I see Harshad Parekh's last two, lectures on Kabir and then Ashtavakra. So that is one thing. Actually, Harshad Parekh, I think, raised the bar in the discussion. So, I see there is something lacking in that thing. Why not? I see it's a second-hand talk. I see why are you talking about Kabir or Ashtavakra or X or Y or Z? Why? Why don't you have your own direct insight instantly? This is one thing. Why you have to be, put your वो क्या किसी दूसरे के कंधे पे बंदूक क्यों चलाने का? तो वो एक बात है जो मुझे लगती है जब भी कोई कबीर और ये वो दिस इज गुड आई एम नॉट डिनाइंग दैट it has its it's a scholarship, people are there, this Zakir Naik is there talking too much on Vedant and all that, but that has nothing to do with intelligence, nothing. If you do not have the direct insight, then it has little value to talk about good saints. If you are talking on good sense as a facilitator, when you are not there, then it has some value. But otherwise, it's still a limited thing. It's not, it's not a direct thing. No, nobody from Ashtavakra, from Dattatreya to Ashtavakra to whatever saint you speak, to Guru Nanak, to Kabir, whatever saint you speak, they never repeat others. They have their own direct intelligence. That is one thing I lack in those whatever Ashtavakra and Kabir. Otherwise, it's fine. So, and one more thing, sir, you always talked about the silent mind. I see, if you have images, you don't know what silent mind is. If you have images of, Kabir or Ashtavakra, then, silent mind is such, all the images, including K, has to die, has to. Otherwise, there is no silence. You are still with the images. That is one thing. And this Chidanand Swami's, ways of intelligence, psychological, I doubt that
Ravi ji,
intelligence has. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ravi ji, time is now limited.
It has 2 minutes
So
more, sir.
one
I'll
last
try
comment from you, and then
why are
Harsha
you
sir
fearing,
will
sir?
have to say something.
Why you always stopped me? I do not know.
No,
But
time
anyhow,
is there.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm done.
Harsha sir.
Okay. Yes, if I speak about my own insight, then you will say you are talking about yourself. If I talk about Krishnamurti, then you said you are talking about Krishnamurti. Whatever Krishnamurti says is very similar to what many people have said, even Buddha. So either way, if we just want to limit it to only Krishnamurti, and we have been doing it for 5 years, talking about Krishnamurti. So I thought there may be some other thing we can, of course, it is a knowledge, but behind what Kabir says, or behind what Krishnamurti says, or behind what Ashtavakra says, there is something very beautiful. And if you get it, I think this is just a knowledge only, what we are talking, but behind what they are saying, whether Krishnamurti or Ashtavakra or Kabir, is really looking uh, fresh, not through the knowledge. And that is what we are talking now, unlearning. That unlearning is very difficult. And learning is automatic, kind of. But that learning becomes an obstacle when we are looking at people or flower or nature. So the real beauty is in looking. And we are also talking about the seeing without thinking. And thinking has become a kind of a habit to most of us, whether we like it or not, it goes on. But when a person becomes aware that intelligence is awakened, one can see the operation of thinking, and then the thinking stops. And then there is something extraordinary state of freshness, and that is what we are really talking about, that looking without thinking, without previous knowledge. But when we have to give a talk, we have to have something, some subject, and whether we can want to limit it only to Krishnamurti's insight, or we want to add something more, which is very similar. So I can talk about my insight, but then you will say you are repeating. So I would say that I can look without thinking, and that is the real beauty. But then you can't really teach to anybody because one has to really be silent and curious, turning the attention inward, and then there is something, maybe there is nothing, and that nothing is a real thing, that nothing is the real thing. Okay, I have finished. Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Harshad sir.
Yeah.
The time has come to end the meeting. So thanks all for participation. And we will have to end the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.